All right, and we are back. Sorry for the little bit of a delay. We had an issue on the streaming setup. There was a little bit of, I don't know, a miscommunication or just like a technological issue. But we are here. We have Tactical Knowledge versus the Wrecking Ball. And we see two very different teams than we saw last time. We had Double Rain last time, and now we have Double Sun.
Oh, really? Is that how we're switching it up? Nice. Yeah, Double Sun. It looks like we've got Ninetales Reshiram, which is an interesting version of the Sun Core. Just kind of like no chlorophyll sweeper, just something that's a fire type that's going to enjoy having the extra damage output.
Yeah, I'm not particularly sure what Rapidash does. I said that last time the Rapidash was on the stream, and the Rapidash O-code everything with Banded Flare Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially, are we going to see Sun boosted Banded Flare Blitz O-code Groudon? Because I would not be surprised.
Do you know that Zapdos also gets Blaze Kicks, so we could see some big old Blaze Kicks too?
I've got to say, I wonder what Tactical Knowledge's matchup for the Kyogre matchup is here, because I don't see a lot of water resist outside of that Suicune.
Yeah, Suicune's not going to be doing much against a Kyogre. I mean, you could Calm Mind up a lot in the face of it, but that's not particularly a game that I'd be interested in playing through.
Yeah, I'd say you probably have Snarl support in like AV Reshiram, and you have like Togetic, which could, I don't know. Is Togetic bulkier than Togekiss? I think it slightly is.
I think it's like in specific situations, sometimes it's bulkier.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, like, I did this once when I was like trying to figure out if I should be using Togetic or Togekiss, and I was like, there were certain things that Togekiss was surviving. I can't remember how it worked.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's, if you don't like, you're slightly more naturally bulky, but you like don't have the ability to run an item to increase your bulk in that sense. So like you're actually less bulky overall. But yeah, and also Nibs is asking in the chat, how good is Reshiram? Reshiram is incredible. If you haven't looked at it, check it out. I think Assault Vest Reshiram is really good. I haven't tried Life Orb, but it could be just as good. We also see Wide Lens on this Ninetales here. Are we going to see a Hypnosis?
Eesh, yeah, this could be some like Sleep War turns, but this is kind of like one of the interesting things about some mirrors is that like if you don't have the Venusaur, it's really scary to bring your Sunsetter because you don't want to give them the chance to like have the speed boost and get Sleep Powders off.
It's funny though, we see the Venusaur and the Tapu Koko, so you kind of cancel out your own chance at Sleep Powder there. And on the other side, you just don't even see a Sleep Setter. You don't have the speed control Venusaur or anything like that. So I am very interested in how this is going to go. As we do see, it is another Choice Band Rapidash, which I think Choice Band Rapidash can OHKO everything on the opposing side of the field outside of the Regiment.
And maybe the Hydreigon?
I think Rapidash gets close combat.
Oh, it does.
And it also gets Play Rough.
So this is something I've been confused about, because Glastrier also gets a close combat. How does a horse get into close combat?
Well, the combat is close, and it just kicks you with its back leg.
I guess that's a good point I didn't consider.
Yeah. I think Wrecking Ball's team is more something you could see along the lines of in the future for Groudon Venusaur teams, where Tactical's team is probably not something you'll see very common, but it's not to say it is not good.
Yeah.
As we see the Venusaur and Groudon lead from Wrecking Ball's side of the field, and we see the Ninetales Togetic from Tactical's side of the field. So what do you think when you see this?
Well, we did see the Wide Lens on the Ninetales, so potentially just like a Follow Me and Hypnosis trying to put things to sleep. I mean, like, Venusaur's free to try to go for a Hypnosis. You can't really Earth Power the Ninetales. You could try to like Sludge Bomb and go for a Precipice Blades, but Ninetales is naturally faster than Groudon, and also Groudon doesn't resist fire moves now.
Yeah, did you see that Ninetales' moveset? I don't know if you saw it, but it does not have Hypnosis.
Oh, it doesn't?
But
I guess it just really doesn't want to miss Heat.
It has Will-O-Wisp for there you got your accurate Will-O-Wisp. It has Mystical Fire, Scorching Sands, and Quick Attack.
Yeah. Dang.
That also did nothing to that Snips right there. That did like 14 total damage.
Yeah, the EV Light and the Burn really, really hurts this Groudon. It's really a bummer to have like your restricted like so like nerfed and invalidated like so early on, and now like this Groudon's really only here to set the sun and set the speed for Venusaur, which it doesn't even really need to be because Ninetales is on the field.
We just are seeing, I believe, a Dynamax Ninetales this turn.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's important to note that we didn't see life orb recoil on that Venusaur, so it could potentially be Sash Sleep Powder.
Yeah, I would tend to guess Sash Sleep Powder is probably going to be the best set, or some like Koba Berry Sleep Powder in this format. You want to go as bulky as you can. You kind of want to have the Life Orb on something else. But yeah, we see Dynamax Ninetales here. I'm not sure exactly what to say about this.
I'm scared, I think.
I think that's, yeah, I am scared. We just see the Sludge Bomb again into this Togetic, finally taking it out this time and kind of leaving the Ninetales open to be Sleep Powdered this upcoming turn if it is in fact Sash Venusaur. So we do see the Max Flare come out into this Venusaur, and it is Focus Sash, I believe.
Yeah.
So with Precipice Blades, how much do you think?
Oh my god, was that a crit? Jesus. Okay. Well.
What? Okay.
I guess the burn didn't end up being as problematic as we initially thought, because Groudon seems to be doing fine without it. Precipice Blade single target is like well over half, and now you don't even need to worry about, if you have Earth Power, you don't even need to worry about. Actually, is Ninetales in Earth Power range? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you still want to Sleep Powder, but like, I don't know. I think that Directing's like in a pretty comfortable position.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, because like you're just slow playing this. You've wasted 2 turns of the max. You did Sleep Powder the Ninetales as it max guards, and we're gonna see a Flare Blitz here into the Venusaur, just taking it out. And I think we're just gonna see another Precipice Blades, and I'm not sure how much its Rapidash is taking.
Yeah, I mean, Groudon's burned, but like we saw how much damage it did to single target max Ninetales. So if this connects, I don't think it will. Okay, it missed anyway. Oh, it's Blunder Policy. Oh
no, it's Leftovers.
Dang, I got really excited.
Blunder Policy would be. Wait, write that down in the notebook for something that we got to look at later.
Okay, adding it to the list of things that we need to try out. Blunder Policy, Groudon.
You do miss enough that it could be something useful. I would say that.
Yeah, which I mean, especially with like Rock Slide and everything like that. So I mean, I'd say that like Directing's still not like stressing too much. Like you've almost wasted the entirety of the max. You can just go for another Precipice Blade right now. You see like 2 Ground Weeks on the side, and another Ground Week just came in, and maybe something in the back will just be able to finish up the game.
Yeah, we see the Max Strike come out here into this Hydreigon. Probably going to do around... Oh, never. I was going to say around like half. No, that did nothing. Oh, it was off of Quick Attack. I forgot that. Yeah,
okay.
Just going for the speed control there, I'll say. We see the Draco Meteor just targeting down this Reshiram. Yeah, Reshiram comes onto the field and Reshiram leaves. Not that great of a testament towards how great it is of a Pokemon, but maybe we'll see something in Game 2.
Yeah, and now if this Precipice Blade connects again with a single target, I think that's just going to be the end of Ninetales and probably the game. Yeah, Ninetales goes down, and like the Rapidash has to choice lock into something, and I don't think any of its options are good. Like maybe Flare Blitz is just going to do like insane amounts of damage, but Directing can, depending on what they have in the back, they can just sack something that's on the field, or they can just reset the special attack drops on the Hydreigon and max it later, because I don't know how fast Rapidash is, but I think it'd be fine against it either way, even if it's slower.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless it locks into the play rough, in which case your Groudon just wins. But I just want to see this Groudon max, because I think that just gets the game done. But I also want to see how much Banded Flare Blitz does to Groudon, because I think it does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Like I think that's going to be something that's like kind of, not even opting to max, just sacking. Yeah.
Yeah, and you would assume that something like the Regirock is probably in the back then, and you're just going to wait to max that, as you might not need to. This might just KO it with burned Precipice Blades.
Dang. Precipice Blades is so strong, and when it's single target and weak to it, it's just, yeah, nothing that could really be done. I'm really surprised that Tactical didn't bring the Zapdos, seeing as how that is a ground immunity, and we personally saw that it had the Lumberry, so it's a sleep immunity as well. Yeah,
honestly, I think like probably the adjustment for Game 2, maybe you're scared of the Tapu Koko, and maybe the Tapu Koko was the 4th Pokemon in the back. But you need to have something that can deal with both sleep and this Groudon Precipice Blades. As we saw, it was doing 70% to max Ninetales. It was doing one-hit KOing Rapidash, even well burnt for both of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems like the Groudon is an issue here when your only ground resists on the team are a supportive Togetic and a Zapdos that didn't come to the match.
Yeah, and the Togetic even really can't do that much because if you just Precipice Blades, like I think the only reason Directing went for Rock Slide that first turn is because they just wanted to get rid of the Togetic as soon as possible. But we saw that if they had just gone for the Precipice Blades, it probably would have done like so much damage to Ninetales. It wouldn't have made like a difference.
Yeah, and at this point, like we see an adjustment of just leading the Reshiram because honestly, if this Groudon doesn't choose to max, I think Reshiram just one-hit KOs it with Max Flare. Reshiram is a really strong Pokemon, and it should outspeed it. It looked like a bulkier Groudon based on the damage. It didn't even take any damage, but the damage it was doing looks like Adamant, I would assume. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, I can't really think of other adjustments other than just like trying to get rid of that Groudon as soon as possible because we both thought that it was kind of useless after the burn, but it turned out to just, I think, get every single KO.
But the Togetic, right?
It didn't get the Togetic and didn't get the Reshiram because Reshiram went down to Draco.
Well, we have honestly, the monochrome Togetic and Reshiram look pretty cool together against Blitzkrieg, the Hydreigon, and Vulcan, the Entei.
Yeah. I'm not super familiar with Reshiram. What's its speed tier?
I believe it hits base 90 speed. It also has like 150 base attack or special attack. So yeah, it's also as bulky, especially defensively, as like Glastrier. So it is a very, very, very good Pokemon.
Dang, that's intense.
So we see the immediate Dynamax of this Entei. Is the combination of something like a Flash Cannon plus a Max Flare going to be one-hit KOing this Togetic?
Maybe even a Max Flare, potentially even something like a Max Rockfall off of Stone Edge is also something that could happen.
Yeah, we see the Follow Me from the Togetic as we're going to see the Entei go first and Max Rockfall, just as you said. And so we have doing about 60% damage there. Maybe the combination of a Flash Cannon from this Hydreigon will pick it off. But yeah, we do see the Flash Cannon. I think this should be enough to pick it off.
Yeah.
As we do see it get KO'd, and this Reshiram is... Oh, another glitch in the game sometimes that happens. It only happens with Reshiram, I've noticed, is Reshiram just disappears from the field, as we can see right now.
Oh, weird.
It was happening in my games in Nino Pokebros and on games that I was just playing on the casual ladder. It just disappears for, like, cutscenes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's something that... I don't think I know why it happens, and they'll probably patch it out eventually, but it's pretty funny, I have to say.
Yeah. So now with the redirection gone, you can just kind of, oh, look, Reshiram's gone again. You can, if you have Quake on Entei, you can just start trying to get special defense boots to try and wall this thing better, or you can just go for Draco Meteors. You can double up into it. Suicune's not providing a lot of pressure because its damage output isn't that impressive, and Entei being the only physical attacker can't be burned.
Yeah, no, I think, and honestly, Reshiram is pretty bulky. I think it's going to get KO'd by a Draco Meteor plus any attack from this Entei if it does go for that. Draco Meteor by itself probably won't get the KO just because Reshiram has base 100 HP and base 120 special defense. But we see the Max Darkness dropping the special defense into Draco Meteor would be enough if it didn't max guard there. A really good play from Directing Ball there, but an even better play from Tactical, getting the Tailwind up to reverse the speed order. And yeah, it should be interesting to see here. It's kind of a bit of a stalemate now. It was looking a bit in Directing Ball's favor, but now we kind of see a bit of a shift in the momentum.
Yeah, I'd say that was definitely a great turn on Tactical's end. They definitely have the advantage at this point. I don't know. You said Reshiram's like super strong, so I wouldn't be surprised if Max Quake KO'd Entei, but it looks like it could just choose one of the two to target and get rid of it.
If this is like AV Entei, I don't think the Max Quake will get the KO. But yeah, Max Wormwind is definitely KOing this Hydreigon, I'll say that.
Yeah. Poor Blitzkrieg.
R.I.P. Blitzkrieg. But yeah, this Max Wormwind takes out the Hydreigon, and to Suicune probably moving next, going for, it looks like, a Calm Mind. This is interesting here. Now that you're kind of setting up a bit of more of a defensive play, you've got the Wormwind off to lower the Entei's attack. You're now boosting your defense and special defense. Now you have your special defense dropping a little bit, but this Reshiram's bulky enough to where it can fire off another strong attack that will weaken the Entei a little bit further and kind of makes it an interesting end game here.
Yeah, especially because like things like you could max Quake the Entei to increase the Suicune special bulk further. I think it may be on waiting out these Tailwind turns, and even then it's going to be difficult because Groudon doesn't naturally it speed ties with Reshiram, right? They're both base 90. If that even is in the back. Oh, and Coco's in the back.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see here. The Coco probably getting undersped by, or probably underspeeding the Reshiram with the Reshiram being in Tailwind, and something like a Max Quake maybe just be able to KO it before it can KO the Suicune in return. It will be interesting that the Entei probably from that Max Darkness does have access to Snarl to limit the damage output, but we also don't know what Directing Ball's last Pokemon is in the back, I would say.
Oh, it's still faster and it's physical.
That is very interesting. I'm not sure how those speed tiers work out, if it's just very slow on both the Suicune and the Reshiram, but we do see the Coco go down immediately after getting that big wild charge off into the Suicune, and I assume we'll see a Snarl here from this Entei. Probably enough to pick off the Suicune with a combination of Snarl plus Sand, as we see the Scald go off first.
Goes faster, and I don't know if Entei's going to be able to survive the +1 Scald. Yeah, it just goes down.
So, okay, one Pokemon left for Directing Ball versus one Pokemon or half a Pokemon and a very low HP Suicune.
Yeah, and the worst part is if it is Entei, which would be like the best thing that Directing has to get rid of the... sorry, I meant to say Groudon. Yeah, the weather changes, so now Suicune doesn't go down to the sand chip anymore.
Well, I think if you can survive the combination of something like a Draco Meteor and a +1 Scald, you can probably win this. The other thing, and we do see that there's actually the Rapidash still in the back, and the Rapidash at this point probably should be able to clean up this game, I should say.
Yeah, I don't think the Groudon, if it was moving first, it definitely had a really, really solid chance, but because it's going to always be going second, it just can't do it.
And one of the cooler animations, Fusion Flare probably just picking off this Groudon right here.
Jesus.
We are on to a game 3.
So something interesting that I've seen a couple of times on ladder as a way, or I've seen once on ladder, it took me very by surprise, was Scarf Coco. I think that this is something that only Tactical would be able to know based on the speed tiers of their Pokemon, if that Coco was scarfed or not. But it's really unfortunate that the Wild Charge wasn't able to pick up the KO.
Yeah, Scarf Coco Wild Charge Oko's Kyogre non-Dynamax, but in a Dynamax format. I'm not particularly sure why you would be running Scarf Coco when you could just run something like a Sash Regieleki.
And
kind of have the same thing, but have more pseudo bulk with the ability to survive 2 hits.
I think that's kind of the main thing that's slowed down Coco's weakness a lot is A, the nerf to terrain damage output, and then B, the fact that with Dynamax, Coco just isn't sticking around as long. So that extra 70 points in speed is really, really valuable.
Yeah, no, I will say the only Coco I've had any success with in the Series 8 metagame is Assault Vest Coco. And even then, I just feel like I'm only running this because I have a Sash somewhere else. And if I didn't have one, I would just try to run my Regieleki, because, again, having a Sash is a very valuable thing in these type of formats, as we can see. Speaking of which, the Sash is on the Suicune on this team, something normally carrying a much more defensive item. But we do see Sash Suicune, interestingly enough. And maybe, do you think Directing goes back to the Venusaur mode? Venusaur Groudon lead and potentially maxes the Groudon, or how is this going to go?
I don't know. I feel like that game really only fell out of momentum when on that double up into the Max Guard turn. I think that's really the only turn that went wrong. I mean, they could go back to the Venusaur mode because I feel like that's still very promising, but I don't. If I'm Directing, I'm not kicking myself too much about that loss. Interesting lead.
Yeah, very different than both the previous leads, I will say. We have the Koku Venusaur on one side and the Togetic and Suicune on the other side. This is a very passive lead from Tactical. You probably are going to Follow Me Calm Mind or Follow Me Tailwind, but the combination of something like a Volt Switch in a Max Ooze, or just putting on high pressure from both of the Pokemon on Directing's side might be too much to deal with. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, we actually see a turn 1 Dynamax initially from the Wrecking Ball. I would guess it's the Venusaur.
Yeah, it could be something like a Max Ooze and Electro Web.
Yeah, that would be real. I mean, what do you do about that if you're tactical? We see the Max from that Venusaur, Beansprout the Venusaur. And we're going to see the Follow Me come out from Snips the Togetic. But if this Coco is staying on the field and using a special attack that it potentially has, we do see the Volt Switch, actually. So that is something important to know. We see probably... do you think a Volt Switch and Max Ooze comes out here?
I think so. But the thing that I'm scared about, if the Reshiram's in the back, I don't think that Venusaur is going to be able to survive like a Fusion Flare. Oh, it's Sash, so it'll get the one turn of survival.
Yeah. So we see the Max Ooze coming right back. The other thing is, based on how slow we saw the Reshiram was beforehand, being slower than what looks like to be a Scarf Coco, this Venusaur could just be max speed and outspeed the Reshiram.
Yeah. There's definitely potential for that if this is like max speed Timid versus like
modest,
like a modest Reshiram. It could definitely be really good for directing. I think the kind of like the only scary thing is that this next turn's kind of telegraphed. I think there's most definitely a Vine Lash going into that Suicune.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't even switch it out because you can Vine Lash and Precipice Blades. And you're going to have to double up on this Venusaur to KO it. And without doing so, it gets very difficult.
Yeah, and directing could even they opt not to. Do you think Rapidash goes down to the recoil here?
No, Rapidash probably takes like half. Oh,
jeez.
75%, never mind.
Ooh, and Venusaur moves before the Suicune, which is really, really big.
Focus Sash.
Yeah.
So it is going to get that Snarl off, and if this Groudon is not blind...
it could even be blind. The Vine Lash is going to finish them off.
Yeah. What if the Groudon goes for something like a Swords Dance here?
That'd be awesome.
I will say the Rapidash probably survives from this stat point, but if you go for something like a Swords Dance and then a Protect the next turn, we do see the Precipice Blades hitting both Pokemon, and I'm not sure how this Reshiram is going to deal with a Precipice Blades and potentially a Draco Meteor from this Hydreigon in the back.
Yeah. There's also Dazzling Gleam potential from Coco. So like Dazzling Gleam hits neutral though, so it's gonna have to take Vine Lash. It's gonna have to choose its targets really well. I think that your best shot is to just target one of either Hydreigon or Groudon, and hope that the other one misses the attack.
Yeah, and honestly, we see Everest coming in. Oh, we actually see the Regirock. This is kind of interesting. I'm not sure how much damage Regirock takes from something like a Max Wormwind. Max Flare, we did see just KOs this Groudon, so it's going to be very interesting to see. But Max Wormwind also lowers the attack of the opposing, or I guess not the Regirock, but it lowers the attack of the Groudon, making it to where you'll probably survive a combination of Precipice Blades. But we see the Max Wormwind into actually the Groudon.
Yeah, honestly, I think Max Wormwind's like kind of an unnecessarily risky play right there. The flares will hit, because something like Coco could switch in. It obviously didn't, and it gets immune. But I think that if Directing can just like preserve their Groudon, I think they can win this. But with Regirock, I'm not entirely sure about it anymore.
Yeah, so we just see the Wormwind come out, and there you go. That's enough to KO that Groudon. And potentially, if this Regirock goes for something like a Curse. If it goes for a Rock Slide, the damage output won't be enough, but something like a Curse and into surviving a Quake the following turn, Stone Edge, and that's not particularly enough either.
Yeah.
But the combination of Stone Edge plus if you do somehow survive a Max Quake, you are Weakness Policy and you get a second Stone Edge off, then maybe it's doable.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I think that this Reshiram's just going to be able to do too much. Like like Regirock's physical defense is really good, but its special defense is not.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to being able to survive this Max Quake here, and if that is not the case, it's going to look like Tactical can win this game with the combination of it is not enough. It cannot survive that Max Quake there, so.
Yeah, I think Directing maybe just like didn't have Protect or any like defensive plays that they could have made.
I was gonna say this isn't in Brave Bird range at all. The Brave Bird was doing like 35 damage, I think.
Yeah, maybe if Brave Bird like crits or something, you have a chance, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, if it crit, I think that was a win for Drekking, but unfortunately,
it's gonna be a
not.
0-0 end here with the life orb damage taking out this Reshiram. Nope, can't survive. Well, there we go. Sudden death. Game 3 coming down to both trainers having 0 Pokemon left, but tactical knowledge is taking away the victory here.
Yeah, Reshiram just went too hard, too fast, and just potentially one switch could have gone directing, but it's super scary to make those calls when you don't really know what they're targeting for. So I think they made the safer choice of just like going for damage every turn. And if they got something like a crit on that Stone Edge, they definitely would have won. But you can't control those factors all the time.